Hey guys, Forsaken Reality here. In this video I'll be integrating our advanced ladder climbing system into a blank project. Like our other assets, this asset was created with easy integration in mind. So like the climbing component, a lot of things are set up within a component. So a lot of things don't actually have to be set up within your character. Makes it a lot easier to deal with. Using this video should give you all the information needed to integrate the asset into most projects, though we do plan to do integration tutorials in the future with some popular marketplace assets. Without further ado, let's begin with the integration. So the first thing we're going to want to do is actually open up our project before we migrate any files in, and go to our edit and project settings, collision, new trace channel. I'm going to call this ladder, capital L, and we're going to set the default response to ignore. So that's a new trace channel there. You can close out of this now and head back to the advanced ladder climbing system. After creating the project, I'm going to migrate the files to your blank projects content folder. And that shouldn't take long. You minimize that. And now we have our ladder climbing system in here. So the first thing we're going to deal with is our animation. So we want to go into our meshes, character mesh, open up the skeleton, set this to humanoid. And if yours isn't already, like this blank project isn't, for example, you want to go into your skeleton, select humanoid, which can be found in the retarget manager window. And now once we do that, we want to go back to our character in the ladder climbing system. And we want to retarget to another skeleton. This will retarget all of the animations. It shouldn't take long at all. Save that. Once we have that done, we're going to want to open up our character blueprints. So open up your character and the character for the ladder climbing component, which is found in the blueprints character. You'll notice in here there's a few different colors. Orange is basically all the things you're going to need, and green's the interaction. So with the ladders, so you can set that up in your own interaction system. Basically, this will be replaced with your interact. So the first thing you're going to want to do is add the ladder climbing component to your character like that. Come in here. We're going to want the begin play. And if you have a begin play already set up, you can use that, but I don't, so I'm just going to create a begin play. You could have also copied it from the other one if you didn't have one. Right there. That's just for the UI display for debugging. Next thing we're going to do is pull over our interaction. If you already have an interaction event, you can plug this into here, and that will running this through your interaction event before your default interaction plays would allow you to trace for a ladder as well, where you can put it into your interaction depending on how you have that set up. I'll be showing a few different ways depending on what assets I combine this with. Some we'll probably be doing will be survival game kit, for example. Jigsaw inventory perhaps. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is move over our sprinting. So I don't have any sprinting in mind, so I'm just going to copy this whole sprinting function, paste it. But if you have sprinting, you're going to want to just take these orange functions one by one. This is for enabling the sprinting, and plug that into your left shift. And if you're not on a ladder, this will run your normal sprinting code from here. So you just plug it into here. So for example, custom event. Say you have a sprint event or something. Some code already set up here that was previously plugged into your shift. Just disconnect it, plug this in, and reconnect it in your false, and it would run with whatever your sprint code would be. I don't have any sprint code in here. The same thing for your disabled, whatever your disabling code is normally there that's not to do with the ladder system would plug in right here. So when you're not on a ladder basically, which is false. That's basically the same concept for the rest of this. For the jumping, you'll want to take the orange, copy this, and there's our jump. Depending on how your jump is set up, you just want to paste this in here and unplug your jumping code that's currently running, whatever you have plugged in there, so you can check if you're on a ladder before you jump. And if you are on a ladder, it will disable climbing, and if you're not on a ladder, then it will just do your normal jumping code. So you can have other code here specific to jumping, like double jumping or whatever, that would run after this. And I don't really need these, so I'm going to delete them for now. So there's the jump, there's the sprinting, there's the interaction, begin play, component. Next thing we're going to do is deal with our move forward and backwards inputs. So all we really need here is our orange. So you can hold Alt after selecting all this, hold Alt, and you can select all this again. So now you have all this and this selected. You can hold Control C, or sorry, you drag this and hold Control, and you can drag all this, not Alt. And then Control C, Control V, and now we have our check here for move forward. So before we move forward, we want to check if we're on a ladder, and if we are on a ladder, we'll do our ladder input, and if we're not on a ladder, we'll run whatever our normal input is for moving forward. So you disable it right at the beginning here for the ladder climbing check. And move right. Similar, you want to Control C, Control V. It's going to make some room here and put it in. Right at the beginning of our move right, we're going to check if we're on a ladder. And we are on a ladder, we're not going to do any right or left movement, but if we're not, we'll just do our default movement. And that should be about it here. Just gonna hold Control and start selecting everything in here, make sure I got everything. Drag it up and organize it. And there's our movement set up. And that is everything in here. This is just a time dilation. You could take this if you want. It slows and speeds up time with your mouse wheel. So that's everything for here, I believe, for the character. Next thing we're going to want to do is open up our animation blueprints. So we want to get our master character animation blueprint from the ladder component and our animation blueprint, whatever that may be. Got this messy one here. the free blank cleaned up third person project with the blockout material freely released in our Discord if you wanted to use that rather than this. If you were going for a blank one. And so once you have your third person animation blueprint, it's going to close other tabs. And in your event graph, you just want this, copy that in the orange node for the update animation. Paste that in there. You can just remove this too, it just adds it there because you copied the collapsed graph. Inside here, you're going to want to create these two variables, and that's all you really need to do here, other than you have a character reference set up already. You want to plug that into here and just delete this one. But if you don't have a character reference, then you can just copy this, and this gets the master character class, which is the parent of every character, as you can see. Copy that, paste that in here, right click, create your character reference. Click this target if you compile, and now you can just take your character reference and plug that in. Ladder component reference is right there in the components, automatically creates that for you. And that should be all of that fixed for you. Now just one more quick thing to do. Final step. Event graph, or anim graph, sorry. We want to copy this into our anim graph. Normally you probably wouldn't have a blueprint set up like this. So there's our locomotion cache. Create a quick cache for this. So we can just basically just put this up here. We can call the default cache. I'll call it state machine. And come into here, copy all our final post stuff, paste it in here. All we really need here is you want to remove this if you don't have a default slot already set up. So basically whatever's you currently have plugged in to here would be you'd basically break your pin on your result and plug this here right on your result pin for mainly any project, and then whatever you have for your locomotion that you broke from here, if you have a default node already set up in your project the way you need it, you can just plug that in like that, or you can just plug it in like this. And if you have a bunch, and if you don't use one of these, you didn't use one of these at the end where you broke it, you can just, whatever comes out of this, basically you just connect it. So that would work. And this calls this cache right here, so that would work. Same way as this going through there. But that's everything right there. And we have an error because it's calling the ladder IK, which is a work in progress right now. You won't need to do this, but you just need to replace that so it's not running through the ladder IK. That will be part of it in the future, but that's it for the integration. Just to test everything out to make sure everything's working fine. Gonna want to go to world settings, set the your own game mode. Come in and grab onto a ladder. And climb up the ladder. Everything is working fine. Perfect. So that's going to be everything for this one. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them in the comments below or join our Discord. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe because that helps the channel. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.